Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so sorry to be delayed. It's been a doozy of the day. I have been trying to get this video done and edited all day, but we are here now. It is June 11th, 2024, and it is time for the first three Am I the Assholes that I saw this morning. Let's just go ahead and jump on into it. So the first one is, am I the a-hole for kicking my in-laws out of my house after they disrespected my late father's memory? Suitable Throw RA writes, I, 25 female, lost my father a year ago. He was the kindest person in the world and worked as an EMT. He died after being hit by a drunk driver while trying to help another driver with car trouble. He was my hero and a huge part of my life. He became a widower father to me when I was 7, and he was the best dad anybody could ask for. To honor his memory, I keep a small shrine in our living room with his photo, some of his belongings, and a few of his favorite things, along with his urn. It brings me comfort and helps me feel like he's still with me. My husband, 30, has always been supportive of this, but his parents, both in their 60s, have never understood. They think it's morbid and unhealthy to keep such a display. They've made their opinions known multiple times, but I've always brushed it off, explaining it helps me cope. This past weekend, my in-laws came to visit. From the moment they arrived, they were making snide comments about the shrine. My mother-in-law said, it's time to let go of the past. And my father-in-law chimed in with, it's not good for your mental health to live in a museum of grief. I told them, firmly but politely, that the shrine stays and it's not up for discussion. Things escalated quickly. When I left the room to take a phone call, they decided to take matters into their own hands. I walked back in to find them packing away my father's things into a box. I was livid. I told them to stop immediately and put everything back. They refused, saying that they were helping me move on. I lost it. I yelled at them to get out of my house. My mother-in-law started crying, saying I was ungrateful and that they were just trying to help. My father-in-law called me hysterical and said I was disrespecting them. My husband tried to mediate, but I was too furious to listen. I told them they had no right to touch my father's things and that they were not welcome in my home if they couldn't respect my boundaries. I discovered as I was putting things back that some of the belongings I had placed on the shrine were gone. A small stuffed cat, his mat for Magic the Gathering, and his shot glass from screeching in when he went to Newfoundland with my mom before he died of cancer. All three things have very low value monetarily, but a lot of sentimental value. My husband has told me I'm overreacting over a molehill and that I'm just sensitive because I was a daddy's girl when my dad was alive. I'm having a hard time letting go of my dad because we were so close. He was literally my best friend for the last 5 years of his life. I may be so swamped in my own grief that I was an asshole over nothing. I'm confused and sad. So, am I the a-hole? Absolutely not the a-hole. Anyone who thinks she is delusional. That was your father, and you have the right to memorialize him and remember him any way you want to. If they don't like the shrine in your home, they don't have to come visit. And your husband the husband acting as if it's not a big deal is ridiculous and more cause for concern, because you have to wonder, is he talking to them about the shrine? Like, he might tell you or tell the OP to her face that it's not a big deal. He understands. But is he going home and talking about it with his family? And that's what's causing the disconnect here, why they think she's wallowing in grief. And even if she is grieving, my mother passed in 2007 and I still grieve. So I still have her urn, and I wish Cedric the Entertainer, I wish a motherfucker would come touch it. No, not the a-hole. We'll see what they say tomorrow. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one is, am I the a-hole for refusing to support my depressed friend who is leaving her children? A recent friend of mine, 6+ months, just told me and our friend group that she has decided to leave her 2 children with their dad and move to a new country to start fresh. She says she's depressed and she needs a new start. She said she'll try calling the children as much as possible. My own mom divorced my dad and left us with him. She didn't disappear, but she also wasn't around. So my friend telling me she's leaving her kids triggered me, and I judged her for it. She said she expected me to be more supportive since she's depressed, but I just couldn't support what she's doing. Am I the a-hole for not supporting her while she's am I the a-hole for not supporting her while she's depressed? I don't know what to say there. I don't think you have to support the OP's decision. But I do think that you should support your friend, especially through a depression. Maybe supporting your friend or supporting the friend will allow them to think clearer and realize that they do have a support group. With that said, do I think the OP is the a-hole? No, I don't. I think that the OP has to deal with her own mental and emotional health. And if supporting someone who's about to abandon their children is going to, 1, trigger, like it already has, but 2, bring back all these bad memories or thoughts or of their own mom, then they should probably step away from that situation just to protect themselves. So do I think this person is the a-hole? No. Do I think that maybe they could find a way to be a more supportive of their depressed friend and maybe point them in a direction that does not lead to abandoning their children? Yes. Okay. So far I'm with 2, not the a-holes. So you guys get in the comments and let me know what you think so far. And now for our last one. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom and her husband they haven't earned an invite to my wedding? I, 28 female, went no contact with my mom 10 years ago. I stayed in touch with a couple of people from my mom's family, but not her or anyone who defended her and her husband. I didn't grow up with my biological father. He didn't want to be a father when I was born, and my mom was a single mom to me until I was about 5. That's when she met her husband. I'll die on the hill that my mom failed me when she brought her husband into my life. For some context, my mom's husband had some sketchy as fuck history that my mom was aware of but ignored. He was cruel to an ex's kid, and he was cruel to an ex's kid, and she reacted and she reached out and warned my mom because she was aware mom had a kid too. He was actually arrested for causing a scene with another ex's teenage daughter, and he was told he needed to stay away from her. This attitude continued with me. He expected me to feel indebted to him, and he would hold it over my head that he was there and my biological father had chosen to abandon me. He felt like he had the right to control every aspect of my life, from how I dressed and ate to the friends I could make. He started calling me a slut and a whore at a very young age because I did things he didn't like, dressing in shorts versus more conservative dresses. Huh. That covered me down to my feet. In middle school, I joined a coding club, and he told me that wasn't a very womanly activity, and he pushed for me to learn to knit, crochet, or bake. He pulled me from the coding club when I refused to comply with him, and my mom let him. So she let him say and do all these things to me. But I was supposed to be grateful because he provided for us and took me on as his own. I was probably 10 when he first called me a slut and a whore. It continued until I went no contact. The no contact thing happened, and in that time, I connected with my biological father. I built a relationship with him as an adult that isn't quite the typical adult parent and child, but we're in each other's lives, and that's important to me. His extended family were so excited to find out about me. They're all invited to the wedding, and so are a couple of the people from my mom's family I'm in touch with. It was another family member who told mom about me getting married and all the other info, and so she and her husband showed up at my front door, which floored me. They were outraged that my bio father is invited to my wedding, but not them, the people who raised me. My mom's husband went on a rant about him being more of a father than my bio father was. Mom talked about how she raised me my whole childhood and didn't abandon me, and this is how I repay her. I told them they hadn't earned an invite to my wedding, and I closed the door in their face. This sparked outrage from the family members I also went no contact with, and they had been texting me a lot of very angry messages. The couple of family members I still talk to apologize for not keeping their contact with me more private and have had my back. But I was told I should be more appreciative of my parents. So, am I the a-hole? In my opinion, I think maybe this person is being a bit of an a-hole to the parents that raised her. It's funny to me, it's always funny to me how the parent that is there is the one that is charged up the most. The parents that are there are the ones that are charged for the unhappiness of the childhood or all the poor little things that they did not get to do. Not the absent parent, not the one who wasn't there at all, that did absolutely nothing. But now here you are at what is she, 25, 25, and now she has a relationship with the father that abandoned her, and that extended family was excited to even know she existed, which means that for all those years, they did not know the OP existed. And all of that is okay. It doesn't matter that the person who abandoned her was not there, did nothing for her, but that person gets an invite. But the people that were there, and sure, he took you out of the coding class and you didn't like that. That's bad, right? It may be bad for you. But does that make that father, that stepfather, a horrible person? No. Did he call her whore and slut? Yes. And is that bad? Yes. But did her father call her anything? No. He didn't call her name. He didn't call her a whore. He didn't call her a slut. He didn't call her at all until she reached out as an adult to communicate with them. So in my mind's eye, in the world of the whole no contact with the parent that raised you, even though the parent that abandoned you, you're perfectly happy with, that never made sense to me. It never made sense, and it doesn't make sense in this scenario to me either. So in this particular situation, I think the OP is in fact the a-hole. But we'll see what they say, what the Redditors say tomorrow. So those are the three for June 11th. Get in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are about this. I mean, and what do you think? Any of them are the a-hole? Do you think number one is the a-hole, number two, number three? Not sure, but I'm excited to see what the Redditors think, and I'm excited for you to get into the comments. So get into the comments, let me know what you think, and come on back tomorrow for the results.